But if you've got a pair of shoes that belong to somebody in your family, a pair of men's boots that somebody's in your family, nothing better for a gift than painting those boots. If you need a break, we certainly understand. We'll be here for you when you come back. Thank you, Peggy. If you can do those boots, if you've got family and can do those boots, there would be no better gift to give somebody than to give them their grandpa's boot or their father's or their brother's or somebody that's passed to do these. And these boots just happen to be new because Sheila, one time she got a box of shoes in the store, and when she opened up the box from the company, there was one of a kind in the box. So she would give me that kind of stuff, or if somebody come back and had a damaged pair of boots or something, that's the way I got them. I would get them. But you can look at thrift stores. If you don't have any of your own, you can look at thrift stores and Goodwill and stuff, and sometimes you can find boots, and it don't matter if they're about wore out. So this one is about a size 12, I think. This is a big one. I don't see a size on it, but see, it's a work boot because it's got a tread on the bottom. And all I done was paint it white. And then this flower pot, which I will paint, I haven't painted it yet, but this flower pot will fit right in the top of that boot. And then when you get it all painted and decorated, you can either put a flower arrangement in it, or you can plant a real flower, plant a flower in it, and and then give it for a gift. That's a super gift. And what we're going to do is, it's not a lot of work. It's just like color book painting. We're going to just paint a lot of different colors and a lot of different decorations on it, stripes, polka dots, that kind of thing. And this one's got so much design to it because it's got these treads down here on the bottom, these treads around. I thought I'd do these treads in black and white, do a black one, a white one, black one, white one, all the way around. Then it's got a design here that we'll paint in a different color. We'll paint this a color and paint this upper part a color. And then you'll have all the different colors on it. And you can use them, you could, if you varnished them, they're going to be good for outdoors, but they're not going to hold up good in the weather. So if I was going to use it outside, I'd put it on a porch or somewhere where it's covered. You could put a flower pot in it and set it on a table on your porch or on your deck or somewhere where it's covered, and you'd get quite a bit of use out of it. But it won't hold up to the weather. Let me see down here okay. Joan, these are great. I've got another one over here, and it's a different design. Let me get it. I had two left in my stuff. Out in my shop, I had two of them. So I did them both, and all I did was paint them white to begin with. See, this is the other one. I've got another one here like this one. And this one, too, neither one don't have a size on them, but they're probably they're big. This one's a 10.5. I never thought to look in the side. And that one's a 10.5. So they're big. And but that makes them really nice. But the thing is using the boots out of your family. Using a pair of if you've got your grandpa's. Used to be, if people would take baby shoes and have them bronzed, and then, to keep a pair of baby shoes from a baby or something. Well, that's the same way with these. You can decorate them, and then you've got it as a gift. My mom was born in the 20s, and through her, she was born in 23. So through her years, up her teenage years, they wore those boots. Women wore high heel boots, those brown leather boots that laced up. And my mom kept those. All her life, she had a pair of boots that they had wore when they was kids from the 20s. And for some reason, she ended up with 3 of the same shoes, because there was 8 girls in her family, so she had a slew of sisters. And she had a pair of boots and then one extra, but they all looked alike. And years ago, I decorated those shoes. I didn't paint them because I didn't want to mess up the shoes. I still have them. I'll have to show them to you. I didn't want to mess up the shoes, but they're the brown leather, two-tone. Got a dark brown here and a light brown up here. And what I did was just put a flower arrangement. I just did a shabby chic thing. I put ribbons and flowers and stuff and glued it on the front of that boot. And then I have 2 sisters, so I gave one to each of my sisters. So we each had a boot. Had a shoe of Mommy's. Well, when my older sister passed away, I wanted to put the pair back together so I'd have a pair of them. So I picked up the one she had at her house. And then, so me and her and Sheila all had one. So I still have that pair of boots. And I think now I'm going to take the the flowers and things off of them, you know, and try to keep them for my kids, because Mom was born in 23, so I'd say the boots were something she wore when she was in her teens, like, you know, so she probably wore them in no later than the early 30s, so they're that old, and they're still in really good shape. But this one, I've tried to pick out some colors here, and I've got a blue here that came from Lowe's, and it's just these are sample bottles. I've told you about that. If I want a color, I go in and, you know, have it mixed. Well, I think this is, I have that tea set online that I get more comments on, that one big tea set than any I've done, and it's done in the blues, and it's got the tray and 2 pots and the cream and sugar and candlesticks and all in one set. Well, this, I believe this is the color I used on that tray, because people ask me all the time what that color is, and I can't tell them because it was mixed. But when I was looking through my pots, through my paints, I found this one, and I think this is the same blue. And it's stuck to the jar here. I'm going to have to pry it to get it open. But I'm going to paint part of it with this blue, and then I think I'll put a rose color or some other color on the top of it. I've been playing with the roses again, and I'm working on the flower stuff. I got those books all in, and I'm working on them, and I've been playing with roses today. And I've got one piece that I'm going to go ahead and paint. I'm still practicing on them because it's been so long. See how pretty that is? It's a real pretty turquoise. So I'm really just going to paint it out of the jar. I'm just going to use it out of the jar. If you put questions in there, girls, and I don't see your comments, and I just, you know, I'm not seeing that, so I'll do my best to keep up with your comments. Okay. But for those of you that bought anything on the auction thing, they will, the invoices on them will go out this evening. Okay, let's see. I had another color sitting around here that I was going to use. I think I'm going to make it a bright. I'm going to use a blue. I'm going to use this blue down here just on this section right here. This is sectioned off good. So what I'm going to do is paint this blue on this one section here. So it's just a matter of, you know, putting a lot of different colors on it, and then some polka dots or some little flowers or something to decorate it up, and then they're really pretty. I'll probably paint that little line around there it's where it's been sewed. I'll probably paint that black, so I'm not going to worry about getting up in that. I'll put a black trim around there. See how pretty that is? The auctions are a lot of work. You know, it's getting all that and getting it done, and then getting it all packed and finding enough boxes to get it packed in and do all that is a lot of work. So that's what I said. I'm not going to do another one till I do have a lot of Christmas, especially the lighted bottles and stuff. I've got a lot of that. So I will do one in July and do a big Christmas auction in July. But the other stuff, I'm going to just, you know, I may try one in June. We'll see how it goes, you know, see how life is by then and what's going on. And then I'll decide whether I do one in June or not. But I'm not going to do one for May. Okay. I like to get my Etsy shop back on the move, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it straightened out because I've just let it go for so long. This is covering good. I may not even have to put 2 coats. This is Valspar. Yeah, this is Valspar's paint from Lowe's. So any of these, if you want a color, go into Lowe's, and I've looked. That reminds me to go there because I've looked for colors that I used in roses for years are not available now in the paints. I went to Hobby Lobby going through the paints, and the other companies have some paints on the market, but if you can't see what they look like, I hate to just buy something by what color they call it, because you never know what color that is, you know, what you're going to get. So I'm having a hard time finding colors that I want, especially in the pinks that I want to do and to paint flowers with. Okay. We did gain new followers on the page. See, I'm not, those girls that are the ones that are big on Facebook, you know, Kathy and them, they're monetized on Facebook and do super with it, but I'm not monetized on there. So, and I am, but I don't want to be anything with the videos. All the thing I have is stars, because I don't worry about that other. Because I don't intend to make it, you know, I don't do affiliates and stuff. I don't do any of that stuff because of the situation. So I'm not worried about if that page, you know, whatever it does, and I'm not going to worry about it. If I'm able to be on there, I'll be there. If not, that's okay. Okay, that's pretty color. See that, how pretty that is? And I'm just following the design that goes right around the boot. I'm down to the comments there, girls. I still don't think I'm getting comments. So if I don't answer you, you know, if I don't answer, you'll know why. My iPad is not worth a hoot for nothing but watching videos on now. Every time I try to watch a live video from Facebook or something, it goes out on me. And it's not the Facebook, it's my connection or my iPad. And I'm not sure I want to buy another one, because I also use a tablet. Got a hair there. I may try to, with the flowers and stuff, since I need to do them overhead, I may try to get time to do some videos on those and stick them in here for you. Because you really need, if I'm painting flowers, you really need to be able to see what I'm, you know, how I'm painting, what I'm painting it. Now I'm going to leave this back section right here for a different color, where the seam and stuff goes up there. We'll put a different color in that section. Okay, so I've got one coat of the blue. We'll let that dry as we go on to the next one. Got one coat of the blue on there, and that's a really pretty blue color. See how pretty that color is. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and do the tongue. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that tongue blue too, and then I've got that up through there. So I'm going to go ahead in here and paint the tongue of the shoe and do this blue in the tongue. These are just any kind of decorations you want to put on them. You don't have to do nothing special, nor, you know, no special way of painting it. It's just whatever you decide to put on it. Dots and, you know, stripes or checks or whatever you want to put on them. See. But now if we reach a point where you all don't want to be, you know, where you don't want to be in here, then that's okay with me. I'll do that for a while. We'll stop it. Wanda is going to be helping me some. She's been doing some things. Oh, and we need birthdays. Some of you all, we don't have your birthday in the thing. She's going to start doing some things like that on the page and trying to keep up with more, you know, if you put questions or stuff on there. See, mine just went out on my phone. Just kicked right off. So my connections are terrible today. If I lose you girls, you'll know why. Because they are bad, and that's got to be my internet connection today. And I have high speed, so it should not be doing that. But it's gone on my phone, just went out. It's bad when I can't see your things. I don't even know what you're talking about if I can't see the comments, which is not a good thing. Facebook is changing again too. We work with, a lot of us work with, and I'm in her group, which is a business coach, and she told us last week, sometime this month, there's a date, everything's going to change on Facebook again. And it's, you know, they've went to that Meta program, and everything is going to be changing. If they leave things alone, they've messed up so many creators, because nobody's getting, their pages are not getting seen. And they've messed up so many already, and now they're going to change it again. Got a whole new program coming out this month, and that's going to make it even harder. You don't get time to do your creating and stuff with all that they want you to do. You don't get the time you need away from the computer to do your crafts and do your creating. You're all time having to do something that Facebook wants you to do to get seen, you know, to get on there. They make it so hard for, you know, for people to make it, and especially with so many new creators coming up, and there's so much to learn, so many things to learn when you're doing it. It's not easy, very hard to catch all that. Especially if you're not a computer whiz, if you don't have somebody to do that computer stuff for you. And I can do some of it, but so much of it I can't do. See, you can see all the wrinkles and stuff in the leather on this one, and that's what makes it pretty. See, I've got the tongue painted in, and got the tongue and the edges painted. Now I'm going to go in here and paint this a different color. Let me put the lid on that before I knock it over. Okay. We've only got 7 in here today. You can watch the replay. And over on the Vintage to Chic page, I get a whole lot of replays on there. You know, they come back and watch it and then ask questions. Sometimes I can get to them, and sometimes I can't. See, I wish I could get that up on my iPad down here. Let me try that one more time, girls. See if I can refresh this page and do it once more. See, I can't even get it to come up on that now. Get it to come up there. That's a pain in the butt. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Okay, there it's, okay. Peggy, I do that too. Now I'm seeing those down here. Oh. They are. They're making. And the Meta, you know, we get so much junk. I don't know why they are forcing so many things on your page that you don't want, things I'm not interested in. I mean, it's crazy stuff, you know, and it'll say follow these. It's things for movie stars, or things for, you know, things that you know that you don't. Peggy, you've been a super duper too helper. I appreciate you very much. Things that you have no interest in whatsoever, they're sticking it on your page. When I open my page the first time of the day, I bet you I block about 15 things that's come on my page. On my private page, I block about 15, probably 10 or 15 sheets coming down through there of things that I have no interest in. Why they put them on my pages, I have no idea. And that's what they're doing. They're doing that for the ones, those big companies and people who are making big money on and are not crafters. You know, they're not crafters. They're doing showing other stuff. So they pay for those ads to put them on your page. If I would pay them $500 to run an ad, they'd put my ad out there. They'd put it out there. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to pay for an ad that goes, you know, to put your page out there. And if you don't pay for it, then they're not going to put you out there. So you're always going in and trying to delete and get rid of the stuff that you don't want to see. Wanda, you and Peggy have both been my right hands. I appreciate both of you. Have been so good to help without even being asked. And I solely appreciate that. Okay, now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to paint, I'm going to do these blocks on the bottom. Let's see what I'm going to put me out some black. And I think I'm going to use this real pretty pink color here, which hasn't been opened. This boot's going to get some pink. I'm either going to do pink or yellow. I can't decide. I wish I had some fluorescent paint, but I don't have any. I wanted some fluorescent colors, but I don't really have anything in fluorescent. Let me look up here and see what I've got in that chalk paint up here. There's a metallic gold. Cascade. Nope, I sure don't. This would have been good with the outdoor paints. When I go back to Walmart, I'll pick up, I'll pick up some other paints. I think I better go ahead and paint this top in up here, and I'm going to use that pink. That's right, Wanda. They're getting paid a fee if those people are paying to have their pages put out there. And they pay big money because those ads come up for those of us who are on there as a business. They come up to me all the time. Every time I post something on my page, they say, do you want to, the ad thing pops up in there. As soon as I post it, then the ad thing to make it into an ad comes up on there. And you pay, you know, it'll say for $500 you can do this. And they want you to do that. And those companies do that. But the common, you know, the small crafter person, you can't do that. You can't pay for them ads. When I first started years ago, I thought that ad was a good thing. But it was $10 here and $10 there. You know, you paid $10 and it went out for so many days. And that was it, you know. But now they want you to do that. And if you don't pay that, then they don't, you know, they don't care if you get any people watching you or not. Because they're there to make the money. Okay, I'm going to put this bright pink on here. And I'm going to go ahead and cover up. I'm not going to try to keep those things that the laces goes in, because I'll go back and paint those black individually. So I'm going to just go right ahead and cover them up. Come right up the edge of this and put this pink on here. People starting out today, the older crafters that's been on here and turned it into a business, they have enough following and they have enough, what do you call them? They sell for companies, you know, affiliates. They have enough affiliates till they're making money at it, and they really have to fight to keep that. And, you know, and they do, and they have to. But if you're new to Facebook, the ones that are coming up new, man, they don't stand a chance. And some of them, that's just like Chris. If you'll notice Chris on Creating with Chris, she set up a new page because Facebook took her monetization off of her main page, which was Creating with Chris Hunter. They took it away from her. And they did also that for the Crafty Brother. That's why he has a new page. So they have, hopefully they have enough following, and it'll take them a while to get those people switched over to do that, you know, to go over and follow their new page. They have enough to do that, and they didn't worry about it. But then some others, I've saw a few others that they've took their monetization away, and, you know, they're complaining, and some are getting it back and some don't. And if that's making your living, if those that are making their living that way, they need that. They need that to stop. and to quit fooling with their businesses like that. And if their algorithm kicks you for some stupid reason, one lady was on there, she said they kept saying, and which they did to Kathy D too, they did to her a while, they stopped her monetization because they said she was in the wrong country. And she got hers back. And one woman was on there the other day, I can't remember what her name was, but she did a post on it and did a video, and they had taken hers away, and she said, this is my livelihood, this is what, and she got it back a couple of days after that. But now they had taken hers away too, and what they say is you don't live in the right country, which is crazy. So it's a fight tooth and nail. Kathy, it's true. They put, they have new pages because they took their monetization off of those old pages. And they do it for silly reasons. You don't know. Now some of them, Debbie with Debbie Riggs, she lost her page last year, but it was due to copyright from. She didn't lose her private page, which was good, but she lost her main page, and she didn't never get it back. But if they tell you you're in the wrong country and they take your page away from you, what do? For me to get the stars thing, it took me about 4 or 5 months to jump through hoops of what they wanted to get and I kept doing it and doing it and doing it over and over and over, and it was a thing with my taxes, with my way my taxes are filed. And it took me months before and that's why I thought, now I've done this, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not fooling with this, because it don't make me enough money to be worth fooling with. So I did it that one time, and it was just, I had to do all kinds of stuff. And if you've got a page like Chris Hunter's got, she makes good money and is amazing. She has an amazing business set up. And they take your monetization away from you. That's a big load. And not everybody can get it straightened out to go on and get you new pages, because her followers just flip over to a new page for her. She's a good, has a good business and a good presenter, so they just go with her, which is a great thing. But if somebody's young on the Facebook thing and they're just starting out, they're not going to get that. I don't know what all the changes it's coming this month. She told us, I watched the video the other day and she told us, but I can't remember all that because I don't worry about it. The whole thing, that's the way it is, Peggy, the whole thing with Facebook is them making money. And the dummies they don't realize if the crafters, if the people on there don't make money, they're not going to make any. But they don't care about that. They want you to pay the fees and stuff, that's going to have 2 coats. But that's the pink. But this one's going to be bright and shiny. Okay. Going to be good. And those that have, make good money on them, they work it. They're on there every day and working and doing stuff and that's what you have to do. If I was young, that would have been an amazing way to make a living when I was young. But it's not, not anymore as old as I am. Okay, got that one side on. Now let's go over here and do the other one. Wanda, it is sad. It's sad what it's coming to for our kids and our grandkids. Sad thing. I worry about my great-granddaughter and her 4 years old. I worry more about her than I do anything, you know, because I'm not going to be around, and that, you know, that scares you to death to think what they're going to be facing as they grow up. I'll probably go back in and paint these little hooks gold. I'll have to do that real, you know, with a tiny brush, and go back in and detail and paint those hooks for the strings, and then I'm going to figure out some kind of shoestring. May just get me a regular shoestring and put in there. With these, you can use, Peggy, you can use any colors you choose. If I had some fluorescent, I'd like to have some fluorescent green and some fluorescent colors. Would have been pretty on here, but I didn't have any colors in the... I just pulled these boots yesterday. I was out there, you know, straightening up again and moving stuff around in the shop, and I thought, well, there sits those boots, and I got them out. And I pulled them then, or I would have got some paints before I done them. So if you're going to do some, get you some fluorescent colors. And I would get outdoor paints. Get you some, you know, paints that are made for outdoors, which all the companies, all of them sell an outdoor paint. The other night after the auction was a bad night for Daryl, the worst we've had so far. He kept me up till 3 o'clock in the morning before he finally settled down and went to sleep. Peggy, okay, let's see what she asked. The blue, is getting comments. Yeah. It's a special kind of paint. The blue paint is just one that it's a water-based paint. It's like house paint. If you go to Lowe's and look through the colors that they sell there, you can pick out any color you want, any colors you like, and you can have it mixed in these little bottles are called samples, colored samples. People buy them when they're going to paint a room. They'll buy them, bring them home, some samples, and then decide what paint they're going to use. Well, that's what these are. And in the past, I went in and bought a lot of samples. And two, when we used to do a lot of shows and stuff, I was in Lowe's. If I was in Lowe's, I'd go see what they had in the mix. They have a bin, always have a shelf in there where things have been mixed wrong, and they don't sell them, and they have them on that thing. And you can buy a gallon of good house paint for probably $5. So when I was doing a lot of painting, I would go in and see that, because a lot of times they would have neutral colors. They'll have neutral colors in that. But any color you want, they can mix for you. If you want a hot pink, go to Lowe's and pick you out a hot pink in their sample section, and then have you a sample bottle mixed. And they're really not as expensive as buying the bottles of paint. That little jar there was probably $5, but it's got, let's see how many ounces is in that. Okay, this is almost 8 ounces, 7.5. That's 8 ounces of paint in that jar. And it was probably, of course, I've had that in a long time. I don't know what the samples are now. But that's a really good way to get colors that you can't get otherwise. And they're just water-based paints, just like you're getting in the craft paints. These are just water-based and same thing. When we done a lot of outdoor pieces, that was, a lot. That's like spray paint. I order spray paint from, now you can get the Valspar spray paint from Hobby Lobby and Walmart and them, but your best deal on it is from Lowe's and Home Depot and stuff. It's like $5 something a can at Lowe's or Home Depot, and I just ordered. I buy so much of it that I order it and have it shipped to the house. I'll buy usually a dozen at a time. Same way with the varnish, the spray varnish that I use in the Rust-Oleum. I buy it by the case too. Okay, now we got a pink one and a blue one. And I've just got that one little thing there. Like I said, I'll go back probably and paint these little things that the strings goes on. I'll probably paint them a gold. Something that'll really pop out there. I don't want them to be pink. They need to pop out with color. So I'll go back in with a tiny brush later and just paint those all with the gold. Okay. Now, I think we need another coat on the blue. Let's go back to the blue and real quickly put us another coat on there. Okay. Valspar at Lowe's, it is. They all have a brand. You know, Valspar just happens to be what this one is, but there's all kinds of good brands. When I go in to buy a base color like the white, I told you I use the white with the high hiding thing, I always get a good brand of paint. I don't buy the cheap stuff. Usually it's about $30–40 a gallon, and to get a good, because it has the primer and the paint all in one thing. So you want something like that. I see others popping up on my page here. Other people must be having trouble with their Facebook pages, because I see one lady here, she's been testing. It keeps coming up as a test. She's testing her videos to trying to figure out what's going on too. So it might not be my connection. It might be something with Facebook. I've seen her twice since I've been sitting here do test videos. Some people have pages set up just so they can go on there and do a test video. You know, they'll have them on there with just 1 or 2 people on them, friends or whatever, so they can go online and do a test run of something they're trying to fix or do. Because otherwise you're on with the public. Okay, got that top done. Let's go back in here and put a coat on this real quick. Pretty napkin. Yeah, you could put a napkin on it. Yeah, and you could do you could do pair of ladies' shoes of some kinds up home. You know, where people garden all the time. They always have a pair of shoes. My mom did when we was growing up. They were called her garden shoes. You know, that was what she's looking for when she went to the garden. And I have a friend at home who's always been really big into nostalgia, into, you know, saving things from family. And she saved their grandparents' garden shoes and stuff. She's always saved them and you know, done something with them to preserve them. So if you've got a older lady in your family who's a gardener, she probably has a pair of shoes that she didn't do nothing but garden in. And that's a pair you would want to keep, the one that they wore so often. I looked at our thrift store this week. I was out in town to get groceries, and I stopped in the thrift store to see if they had any boots, but they didn't have not one pair. In fact, I didn't even see any men's shoes in there, just women's. Yard sales be a good thing. Look at yard sales for boots. Okay, that color, that coat went on real quick. See, that went on real fast. Now we're going to jump back up and put that pink on one more time. Have no odor paints at Lowe's. I'm not sure, Wanda. If these don't really have a smell unless you put your nose right in it. I don't think they, I believe they would have, because once it's dry, it'd be no odor, or you'd have to put it in your house. Okay, now we're back to the pink again. Let's get us a little more pink out. Paint that one more time, and then we'll be the others. It's going to be black and white and stuff, so they should go pretty quick. Come on, paint, get out of there. Lots of men's boots, you know, they wear boots to work in, and most of them throw them away, you know, when they wear them out. So if you got somebody in your family that wears work boots, tell them, when you get done with them boots, save them for me. When my husband worked at the mines, they had to wear hard-toe boots, so he wore boots all the time, but most of the time his was slip-on, because they had to wear hard toes. This make a super gift for some, you know, if you have a grandchild, to give them their grandpa's boots, or somebody in your family, would make a super gift. Hobby Lobby, new Deco Art colors. I'll have to look at that, because I was out Hobby Lobby last week, I think, the first of the week, to pick up some paints, and I didn't get much choice. There wasn't much choice there. But now, like I said, our Hobby Lobby things go so fast. It's like the girls and I. Maddie had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and we had to go to Jefferson City, which is about a 30-minute drive from us, to where the orthopedic doctor was at. So I told Maddie, I said, Maddie, let's go to Walmart while we're up here, because our Walmart don't have nothing. You can't never find nothing in our Walmart, because it goes so fast, and there's so many people in there. Regardless of when you go in Walmart here, it's a ton of people in here, because they're tourists. Everybody comes to town, stops at Walmart to get groceries. If they're going to the cabin or wherever they're going here, you know, on their vacation, they're going to stop at Walmart and pick up whatever they need, and it's always crowded. So Maddie and I went to Walmart, and I forgot what we went for. She's looking for something. Oh, I went to get Joe a pair of shoes, and we stayed in there an hour and a half, and we ended up buying all kinds of stuff. I told her, she said, Mama, can I shop for clothes while we're here? Because ours don't have no choice of clothes. She needed summer shorts and stuff, so she shopped for shorts, and I even got, and things was cheaper. Even the groceries was cheaper. So we shopped at Walmart yesterday. But up there, it's local people. They get no tourists, just that close to home, but they don't get any tourists, so everything is priced for the local economy. It's not priced for tourists. Ours is priced for tourists. Vintage brass woman's shoe. Yeah. Tapestry design napkin. I don't know if I've seen any tapestry. I've got a lot of napkins, Peggy, but I don't know if I've got anything. I've got a lot with just, you know, general flowers and things on them, but I don't know that I've seen a tapestry one. Go on Etsy. Etsy has thousands of napkins. Go on Etsy and put that in, decoupage napkins, and put tapestry in there. And you'd be amazed what would come up. You probably will find one. That would be pretty. When I was doing this shabby chic stuff, too, I bought a lot of the old ladies' shoes, the black ones, the old high heels from the 20s. I bought a lot of them, but I didn't paint on them. I decorated them with ribbons and roses and, you know, decorated them shabby chic. Lace and ribbons, and I've got doilies. I've got tubs of doilies. And lace tablecloths. I've got all kinds of lace tablecloths, and I've put them in the yard sale and stuff, and people want them, but they want them for nothing, and I'm not going to just, if I'm going to do that, I just give it to somebody. If I have somebody that wants something, I give it to them before I charge them $1 and, you know, sell it to the yard sale for $1. When you have a yard sale here, everything's $1. You know, they don't want to pay nothing but $1. More than $1 for anything. Okay, I got those two colors on. That's pretty colors. Look at that. Now I'm going to paint that stripe running down through there. I'm going to paint that stripe black. And I think I'll go ahead and paint this black on the back. And I'm going to put these little sections right here. So there's a little, like a, down, before you get down to the sole, there's 2 or 3 little sections there. So let's go down here. I think I'll go down here and put this blue around that bottom. Let's see if we find another color, something that's pretty to go with that. The blue, 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 blue. What would I use? Let me see if I can find another color for that little stripe down there. Maybe a different shade of blue. That's too... Let's see what this purple looks like. This is called magenta. I've got one little section down here on the back. I'll stick that on there. If I don't like it, I can change it and make it a black or something. This little section right in here is different. So I'm going to paint it with a different color. Women's shoes with the high heels. Debbie, look on eBay. I used to buy shoes on eBay. Yeah, this is purple. That paint's kind of thin. I'll have to put more than one coat on there for that one too. This boot's good because every little section is separated for you. See, there's a little indentation there that separates all the sections. These boots are designer boots. They're not just plain boots, they're designer. So they've got all kinds of shapes and things to them, which is good. Gives you plenty of different areas to work on to make them different. See that one? Vintage brass. Yeah, I've done the women's brass shoes. There's one in here painted. I don't have any more of them brass shoes to paint, girls. But there's one on, there's a video here on the page of one of the brass ones. I've got one more finished one out in my stash out there. I do have one more that's finished. And you can, and I bought those on eBay too. Go on eBay and put in those brass shoes, and you buy them one at a time. But I bought those on eBay, and they come in all different sizes. I've had the small ones, you know, up to larger ones. Occasionally you'll find one at a yard sale or a estate sale or something. You'll find one. That comes around and goes right down into that design down in there. I'll have to let that dry and put one more coat on that. See, that goes around the back. So we've got that around the back. And we've got here, now we've got these little strips right in here different. I think I'm going to paint those black. Go all the way around with those in black and put that stripe up there in black. So let's go to the black, and we're going to go right up here and do this stripe. This is the stitching that was on the shoe where they've got this shoe stitched together. So I'm going to paint that stitching with black. Just makes a black stripe down through there. It's not hard, it's tedious. You have to just, you know, you have to pay attention to your lines and stuff, but it's not a bit hard to do. Just a little time consuming. And I don't care if some of the little white specks shows through on this stitching where they've got the threads in it. I'm not going to try to cover up every little spot because I don't care that that little bit will show through there. That'll just give it a little more character. It screams glitter. Yeah. We can varnish it and put some glitter on it. I'll do that. Yeah, I can varnish it and put that glitter on in the varnish and make it all sparkly. If you're making them for your own self, you can use the other glitter, the glass glitter, diamond dust. See every little bit, see how much difference that stripes makes? Every little bit there gives it a little more character. The stripes are, so if you're separating every little thing, if it's just a solid shoe, then you're going to have to create your own patterns on there. If the shoe is completely solid, then I would create either stripes or harlequin or some kind of design on there to make it, to give it some design to it. But this one's got so much design and character to begin with, don't have to do that. I don't think the other one the other one don't have all this stuff. These boots was probably $200 boots. Sheila and them's had the store up there. They've had that store. It's been up there since my mother opened that store. So it's probably been there close to 50 years. But they've had, to people, and it's always been a joke with us, and it's a joke and it's not a joke, you know what I mean? People do anything to steal, to shoplift in a store. She's had people come in and take their old shoes off and put them in the box and wear out a new pair. So she would go through the store, do the shoe things, and she'd find a box and there'd be somebody's shoes in that box. And they took the new pair with them. She caught this girl one time and she had a pair of tennis shoes strapped around her waist. She took them out of the box and tied the strings, tied them around her waist, and was trying to get out of the store with them. It's sad that people do that. I just got my purple finger on that blue stuff there. Go back and paint over that. See, we've got a little place in the tongue up there. That little spot goes right around in a circle there, that lacing does. Painting shoes, a lot of people are painting tennis shoes and stuff to wear. I saw a pair online yesterday. Somebody had decoupaged and made them to wear, a pair of ladies' tennis shoes. We'll never look at a boot the same again. Now I'll see the potential for design. That's the way it is, Peggy. Like I told you before, once you start painting, once you paint clouds, you never look at the sky that you don't see the different clouds in the sky. Or you don't, we used to do that with trees. Our lady that taught us to paint, she used to try to get us to do, and we all thought it was so hard to paint a tree. And she'd say, now we're going to put trees here, and she'd start painting and everybody just quarrel, And she'd say, girls, don't worry about it. There's not a tree you can paint that's wrong. No matter what kind of tree you paint, there's going to be one in the woods somewhere that you're going to see that tree. And sure enough. And you notice things after you start painting just like that. You notice shoes. You notice things that when you start painting and designing on stuff, then you see things that you never seen before. When I go out in my room where I've got stuff stored to paint on, I might have bought something 3 or 4 years ago and thinking, well, I'll use that. And then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 years later, an idea pops up on Pinterest or on somewhere, and you get an idea and you say, well, I got one of them in my stock. I got one of them. Then you know what to do with it. It's like candlesticks. I never painted candlesticks until just a few years ago, and then you got, to seeing so many done. And now they're done in so many different ways. Now I painted table lamps For a long time I did table lamps, but I done them in the shabby chic with the flowers and stuff. And now I've got a lot of lamps to paint. I just haven't gotten around to painting them in the other styles. But I used to do lamps all the time in roses and things. That's one of the pieces I kept. I've got a big lamp in my house that I kept that I painted roses on. Haven't kept many things through the years, and then you look back and you see Daryl did make me, and I hear I don't really have room in my house to use it. He made me a pedestal to hold a Bible. You know, like you see in church, and you see the pastor sitting up there and he's got an open book wood thing and his Bible lays on it. Daryl made me one of those, and it's in my outbuilding now. I stored it in my building because I really don't have room in my house to sit it, but I painted roses on it. And I did them when I first started painting roses, and now I look back and I think I need to get that out and redo it. But it's made on a real big post. The post comes up and it sets up in the floor. It's a beautiful piece, and I wouldn't get rid of it for the world. And the top of it looks like the book is open, and you can open your Bible and lay it on that top. See, that black stripe just sets it off. Okay, now see the difference in the, you got all that stripe goes all the way around there. Now see these little indentations down here? I'm going to paint one black. I think I'll paint one black and leave one white. So I'm going to paint the main back one here black. Then leave a white. We're going to have a black streak and a white streak. Black one right here. Then we'll leave the next one white, and then we'll do black again all the way around. Fancy pair of shoes. Yeah, they would, Wanda. Probably would. I picked up clothes for Peyton yesterday, some little things for the great-granddaughter. Had the cutest little skirts and stuff for summer in there. And I thought about that. When a kid is, you know, when your little girls are born and you dress your little girls in fancies, I go back now and look at the pictures that I dressed these two girls in, and little frilly skirts and tights and stuff. And kids will let you dress them till they're about 7 or 8 years old, and then they stop. They don't let you dress them no more. That was the fun times when you got to put the, you know, little fancy clothes on them and dress them up. They sure don't let they do it once they get a mind of their own. They don't do that no more. Yesterday I posted a picture of Peyton. That picture she had, her mom had been somewhere this week, and she got her some earrings, some clip-on earrings. She loves makeup, to play with makeup and stuff. And that's what she was sending me that picture for, to show me her earrings. Once they get a mind of their own, it's a whole different world. It's turned out pretty good. Okay, now, see, got a, just like a flight there. It's in flight, got one on each side. Then the next little section there, I'm going to leave that white, and we'll put some polka dots or something in it. So I'm going to go right on up here and paint this next one black. This is the next one up toward the front. I'll probably put this one in my Etsy store, Etsy shop. If you don't do Pinterest, girls, you can get 10,000 ideas. They're just sitting. I could sit and go through Pinterest for 5 or 6 hours at a time, just looking at all the different things and any ideas you want. You know, if you're getting ready to do a flower garden or something outside, you can always find things in there. You know, ideas for anything you want to build or anything you want to cook. If you want to cook something, you can go into Pinterest and you can find recipes for exactly what you want to cook. I used to spend a fortune on cookbooks. When we moved from West Virginia, I had, so many. I had tons of cookbooks, and most of them I left. I picked out what I wanted to keep or thought I wanted to keep, and I told the lady that bought my house, I said, give them away. If you can't find somebody to give them to, then just, get rid of them. I don't care what you do with them. And now you don't hardly ever buy a cookbook, but I used to buy every magazine, that Taste of Home. I have all their hardcovers. So I love to used to sit and look at cookbooks while watching TV. But nowadays you can go on Pinterest. Okay. You get lost in Pinterest, and I love it. Find neat stuff. Even when when Miranda got married and we started doing her wedding, we did her, had her wedding. And she had an outdoor wedding at one of the venues here. We have weddings places everywhere here, and she had one like that. So we went on there, and I just created me a board that said Miranda's wedding, and we was looking for things, and we made her all kinds of signs and things that you do for weddings. We made all kinds of stuff, and we went on Pinterest. I baked her wedding cake, and she wanted a plain, just a real simple wedding cake. So I went on Pinterest and I did her wedding cake myself. And I had decorated cakes for years when I was in the store with all the roses and stuff, but that's not what they use now. It's usually live flowers. It was real simple, had some flowers on it, and was wrapped. Cake was kind of ivory colored, the icing was. We did a 3-tier, and then we had burlap ribbon wrapped around it. She had a kind of a rustic like wedding. So but you can go on Pinterest, anything you want to find. If you want to build a flower box or, arrange flowers you can find anything. It's so amazing, and that stuff's from all over the world. I think that's the best site on the internet is Pinterest, the best place, because it's no hassle, no junk, no nothing. No hassle of doing it, just there for ideas and to do, and it's no problem. You don't see the turmoil and stuff on there like you do on lots of other places. Used to be blogs too, but now I don't like blogs anymore. Too many ads on them, too many commercials on the blogs. Okay, we got the white, black. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to put up here in this very front one. And I think I'm going to go back to that purple that I put in the back. Current format of photos on Pinterest. What's with the ads and such? It's not as simple as it used to be. Peggy, it's not as simple, but I don't have any problems. I find myself, I created too many boards. I have too many boards, too much and things that and a lot of them, I make boards if it's something that I'm interested in and not, and I don't care what's on it, like I'm looking for stuff for just me, I just make them private. I have a lot of boards that are private boards that are just for me. So you know, you public don't see them. If they go on my page, you don't see all my boards. So, and I like that, like being able to do that, make some of them private. That's the way we did when we had her wedding. You know, we went on there and did board and set up a board, and it was just Miranda's wedding board. So it didn't need to be seen by anybody else. Now I'm going to go back in here with this, I'm going to use the purple. Same purple I've got back here. I'm going to put a little stripe up here in the front. It's called secret. You can make your Pinterest boards, some of them secret, if you don't want them to be seen by the public. Just make you a secret board. Stripes would look good on that black and white panel. Yeah, I could stripe that in the back. Yeah. This one will have to have an extra coat put on it. Okay. Now I need to take that back a little bit farther. Right underneath that black a little bit. Okay. Okay. See that? We got that. It goes all the way around. And this one, I think, see, I'm going to put that stitching in black. Maybe we will put a few. We put stripes or checks. We might be better to put checks in it than stripes, because I can take them right across. And really, I don't even have to measure that to make. I can just pencil me a checks. Let's see me get me a pencil. Come on, pencil, pop out here. I had one this morning. Well, can't even find a pencil when you need one. There's one. Let me see if I can put some checks across this stripe here, and we'll put some checks in it. And then we will put the stripes along the side, across the side. With something like this, you don't need to measure them. You can just guess them, you know, just guess your checks and put them on here. You don't have to, nothing has to be perfect, a perfect size on there. Now I'm going to come right down the middle. Put a line down the middle. And this one I'm just doing with little cross hatches. I don't never try to make a line all the way down. Just take your pencil and just hatch it. Put little hatch marks down across, and you will get your spaces in there without trying, because if you try to make a long line, you nearly always lose your size before you get it in. Now I'm going to go back and put an X in each one so I won't get them wrong. Yeah, that'll be good. Now let me get me a smaller brush to work with. Let's see if that one's going to work. Okay, I believe that one's small enough. Let's go here and make these checks in the back. I like that. Good idea. I love doing the checks on anything. Message from Debbie. Huntington, West Virginia is getting ready for ramp festival. Did I ever attend? No, I don't like ramps. It is a stink festival if you go with ramps. I don't, you know what? I don't like them, but I say I don't like them, but I don't believe I've ever eaten them. But now that was a big thing. You know, that's a big thing in West Virginia and in lots of states like that. The ramps are a big thing. They have festivals and they do all kinds of cooking things with them. Huntington is my town. That's Marshall University, and I've got a lot of family in Huntington area. Both my sister, my older sister, and my oldest brother lived in Huntington, and their kids are there, and a lot of Daryl's family's in Huntington. I like that. Look at that. See how pretty that is? Good idea. See, every little bit gives it a little more character. It's still cold here this morning. Every morning we've had to turn our heat on. And here it is almost the 1st of May, and usually we've got gardens going and everything, and the weather's been so weird this year. I'm ready for it to be. I take my heater out of my room out here. I got one in the wall, but it's so loud I don't like to run it. I'll have to this summer when I run the air conditioner. So I've got a floor heater, and I keep taking it out. Every day if the weather's warm, I take it out. And then I go back the next day. I got to go get it and bring it back in because it's too cold. I want to see, girls, I want to see you paint some shoes and show us. You won't have seen these on Facebook, so that'll be a good thing. You'll get something on there before everybody else does. I don't believe I've seen any of them on Facebook. Of course, that don't mean they're not on there. It just means I haven't seen them. I like that. Checks are pretty quick to do too. That is pretty. Look at that. Now see that? Now I'm going to paint that stitching down each side. That's that same stitching that went around here, so I'm going to go back in and paint it black too. Paint that stitching down through there. Coming around there. See, this is time consuming. Takes time to get all these different colors on there. Ramps in my freezer to last through the winter. Wonderful. And fried potatoes. Well, that's like probably putting like onions. Are they stronger than onions? Becky. Now Becky's from, I'm sure she probably fools with ramps. She's from that area. She lives right outside of Huntington. I like fried potatoes with onions in them, so maybe would like ramps. I've not fried potatoes in years. I tell you what I like. Of course, I like pinto beans. We grew up, you know, with eating beans. But they have the beans in the store that are called 18. I picked up a bag yesterday. Either 15 or 18 beans in a bag. I love those. And I go to the Honey Ham store here in town, and I buy a ham bone. And that's the best thing. Stick them in the crock pot and throw that ham bone in with them, and that's all you have to do. Put your beans, your water, and your ham bone in there, and those are fabulous. And that ham gives them the best flavor. I do that because we was talking about that this weekend, because last week I kept my granddaughter's dog, and he's a big dog, and he chewed up everything in my house. He destroyed two throw rugs in my house, chewed the bottom of my coffee table. And she's a good dog. I told Miranda, I said, Miranda, I don't want to keep her no more. She said, Mama, she's not bad. I said, no, she's not bad. She's just a dog. You know, that's what they do. But, and I told her, she gives her bones all the time. And I told her, I said, well, she found a ham bone in my yard that Sadie must have left, and she brought it in and used. So I told Miranda, I said, when I make beans again, I'll save you the bone. Just bring to her. Never. They are from the south, ramps are, and they grow wild. So they grow in the mountains, they grow wild. That's like ginseng. You girls know what ginseng is? Ginseng is used for medical reasons. If you don't know, it's a southern thing, and people around home make excellent money during ginseng season because they go to the mountains to dig ginseng. My nephew does, and you can make, you know, it's a real highly expensive thing because it's used to make certain types of medicine, and it grows wild in the mountains. And I don't even know what it looks like, but it's a certain kind of, you have to go looking for it. They'll say, well, we're going sanding today, and they go to the mountains to dig ginseng, and it takes, you have to buy it, you have to dig it, and it's little, you dig out the roots, and then the roots are dried, and it's bought by the pound. You sell it then at a certain time of the year. There are places set up where they buy ginseng, and it's taken into medical facilities, and it sells for a big high dollar per pound, but it takes a lot of the wet stuff to dry out to a pound. But I got a nephew that has been ginsenging for years. Okay, now we got that in the back. See how pretty it is? Now I got to do something to those down on the bottom down here, and I think I've got some spots there that they're all kind of cracked. I think I'm just going to go ahead and paint that bottom black. Paint those hatches down there black. Okay. We're having for lunch tomorrow. Soup, beans, ham, fried potatoes. Yeah, that sounds good. That's what country people like. I like cabbage and kielbasa. I fry kielbasa and cabbage. I love that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and paint this. I'm going to paint the heel here black because I think it's got too many little cracks and stuff in it. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint that black on the bottom because it'll cover better. Now you want fried taters tonight? I've not fried potatoes in a long time. I've got steaks to fix this evening. I've had them in the refrigerator for a week. Need to get them fixed, so I'm going to do them this evening with baked potatoes and just steak and potatoes and a salad. Garlic bread. Used to do steaks on the grill, but I finally learned how to do them in the oven, so I've not made one on the grill in a long time. Most of the time when you buy steaks in the restaurants, they're made in the oven, and I finally learned how to do that. It took a while, and I use an iron skillet. So that does look good. See there? Now I'm going to put that black around the bottom. That black looks good on there. Okay, that'll be our last color to get on there, to get that black around the bottom. Uh-oh, I went up in there where I didn't intend to. And I'm not sure if I can cover that back up since I've painted it or not. So I'm probably going to have to go, yeah, I'm going to have to just cover that. I don't cook nearly as much as I used to. And then trying to lose some weight, so it's hard to do. Losing it's not the hard part, it's keeping it off. I like it, I like it. I might just put me some flowers in this one and put it on the porch. I'm not a flower person though, I can't keep them alive. My husband always planted real pretty flowers and took care of the garden and stuff. When we first went to Florida, tell you another story. When we first went to Florida, when we was first married, we got married in December, and in January we took off and went to Florida because Daryl's family was down there. So we moved to West Palm Beach in January. And just 3 or 4 months after we were down there, we bought a trailer. Put it in a trailer park, naturally, because that's where you live then, you know, put them in a park. And my dad, being a trucker, hauled watermelons out of Florida all summer long. He went back and forth to Florida to get watermelons. So we had to live the park, and you know, Florida don't have no rocks. Florida, down in South Florida, like way down there, don't have rocks. So Daryl had, our yard was so pretty, he'd planted all these flowers and all, and Daddy was coming that way with the truck. He had a big flatbed big tractor and trailer he hauled watermelons in. And he was coming to Florida to haul melons, and him and Mommy was going to come on down to West Palm Beach and visit us. So I called home. I told him, I said, Daddy, bring me some rocks. He said, bring you what? I said, bring me some rocks. Bring us some rocks to Florida when you come. Daryl wants to build a rock garden. And boy, he did. My brothers went to the river and loaded that truck. Not loaded it, but they put a lot of rocks in that truck of all different sizes in Daddy's tractor and trailer. And he brought them to Florida. And when he couldn't park in where we lived, he had to park over to a place, and then we had to go pick him up. So when we went there to pick him up, he asked me, he said, what are you going to do with that 10-ton of rock I brought you? I said, 10-ton of rock? I said, Daddy, I can't use 10-ton of rock. And he didn't bring me that much, but he had enough rock. Daryl built a beautiful rock garden and built it up, you know, made it on a slant and stacked those rocks and put it in our yard. And everybody in the neighborhood stopped, wanted to know. We live in a trailer park with hundreds of trailers, you know, big park. Everybody wanted to know, where'd you get your rocks? Where'd you get those rocks? Everybody that came by our house would stop and honk their horn and want to know where we got those rocks. Then about 6 months, a year, we didn't stay down there very long. Within the next year, we sold our place there in that park. We sold our trailer. The first thing, the people that bought our trailer, the first thing they wanted to know when they bought the house, they said, you are going to leave those rocks, aren't you? We said, yeah, but everybody in the trailer park, as soon as they knew we was leaving, wanted our rocks. They come by and said, what are you going to do with them rocks when you leave? So that was a big thing, but they were beautiful. It made the prettiest rock garden and flowers and stuff in it. And that you could have sold them. I told Daddy, I said, well, next time you come, you can bring me 10-ton and I'll sell them. I've almost got it. I'm going to put another coat on that purple down there. But I'm almost around the shoe. Goo Goos from Cracker Barrel. my kids buy me something for the holidays, I like those little, I forgot what brand it is. It's a real good, they're caramels. And they're expensive, and they'll buy me a little packet. And I always tell them, don't buy me very many because I cannot leave them alone. And they'll buy me a package of those soft caramel candies, or a box of them. We live right next to a big candy store, a Brock's, I guess it is. One of the great big candy stores is right out just half a mile from us. And occasionally I'll stop in there and buy a box. They have what they call rejects in the, you know, boxes of candy, and you can get all kinds. But I don't go very often because I know I'm going to eat them if I bring them home. So, okay, I need to put another coat in this purple up here, and we just about got it. Use artificial flowers. I would put artificial in this one. I don't believe I would plant flowers, you know, because you're going to, if you plant, you're going to be watering it all the time. And your pot down in there is going to get the inside of your boot wet. So I would just put artificial flowers in it too. Okay, I got my blue just a little bit down on that white where I don't want it to be. So I'm going to take a black line right here and put me a black line right up through there, stripe, so that I hide that where I messed up. I didn't think about painting that and not getting the blue down on that. Thanks, Elaine, it is cute. I'll take my brush and just come right up through here and put me a stripe there, so I hide that blue line I've got there. I'm just standing my brush up on the edge and pulling it right up through there. Okay, now see that? Just put a little stripe, black stripe on that, and I'm going to come over here on the other side and do the same thing. Cut one right back here to paint in, and then go right down through there with a stripe. Okay, I think we got all the colors on it. Got a little spot there of blue I got to touch up. See, that colors is pretty. See, let's see here. When I put it up there, then I can see the little spots where I need to touch it a little bit. Right there's a little bit showing that I need to touch up. Things you can't see until you get, when I put it up there in the camera, then I see those spots. Okay. Right down here's one. Now the first thing I'm going to do is put me a little bit of a drag in the back. I will go back later. I'm not going to sit here and do that now. But I'll go back in and paint these, each one of these things for shoestrings, the metal ones, I'll go back and paint those gold. Because that'll take me a while to, you know, use a little brush and paint all that on there. So I'll do that later. But for now, I'm going to put a little bit of a drag in these checks back here. Put that on, and then we're going to put us some polka dots and stuff around through there. I'm going to take me a little bit of ochre color and a little bit of painting medium. And I'm going to hit that medium and that ochre and put me just a little bit of color in these checks. We won't tell MC that we done that. Okay, got my checks in. See how pretty they are? Now I think I'm going to put some polka dots. I'm going to put some big polka dots in this blue, and I'm going to have to figure me out a color. And I'm not just going to put polka dots and leave them. I'm going to take my brush and put them in there so I can make them different sizes. I'm going to use my brush. I got to touch this one spot up down here on the blue where I got my paint there a little bit off. I'm going to take my brush and put me some polka dots in different sizes in there. Okay. You know, I think it has too, Joan. I think they hurt themselves by what they do, because even though the crafters online were doing that stuff, just like me and 10 million others, it was good advertisement for that company, because people want the original pieces. They want to own a piece of the original stuff, and now that's not out there. They upset people for doing that and made it so that now people don't care whether they get their stuff. One of the guys I seen, he's a guy and he's in one of the groups that I am, and he paints a lot of that kind of stuff, and he collects it too. And he was just talking this week about buying things that what they have their sale, end of year sale, and getting all these prices on it. I think they have more in their end of the year sale than what they normally do, because I don't think it's selling either like it did before. We're not seeing it. You're not seeing it, and the seeing it before made people want it. You know, when they saw it, they wanted to paint it, but they also wanted an original, and that just hurt. I think that hurt them. Okay, I'm just going to take my paintbrush and get me a small paintbrush, and I'm going to take it and make me some circles. See if I can do that, get them pretty small. As soon as I find me a little brush here that I think I can make them with. Okay, I'm going to try this one, see how it does. I'm going to come in here and just put me some circles, some white circles in there, and I'm going to make them different sizes. See, I'm just going to go around and paint those circles in and make them all different, have little ones and big ones, like dots, except I'm doing them with a brush. So it's just 2 C strokes, one direction, one the other direction, and you get a circle. Most of their pieces now, Joan, are not, they're painted by just, you know, in such volume, and they're painted in China. They're made in China, and they don't do a neat job. They don't paint very neatly. So some of the older Mackenzie Childs is beautiful, and it's in big demand. When people look for pieces, you'll see people say, you know, they found this at a yard sale or something, you know, lucked into something. And those pieces are beautiful. But the newer pieces, some of them ain't worth carrying home. See, that looks good. See the big dots? I'm just going all around with different size dots in that. Put that in the blue. I'll put a shoestring in it, so I don't know that I'll even take these up in here, because I will find me a shoestring, and I'll probably use a real shoestring. I'll just get me a pair of shoestrings and to lace it with, and use a big one, either black or white. Shoestrings in there. Okay. I'll have to get me some artificial flowers and fill that pot to make it look good. Can get a, you know what, you could, I don't know much about them, but those little air plants that are, they call them air, AIR plants. So they, maybe something like that you could put in them. Put in a pot. Oh, that looks good. See that? That looks so pretty. That is really, I'm amazed. That's turned out really good. I'm going to put one more right up here in the front. Okay. Now, I think in the pink part, I'm going to use the wood end of the brush. Rub and buff goes on before the varnish. Uh-huh. Do you put, it goes on before, throat's hurting. Excuse me, girls. Okay, I'm up here. I'm going to take me a color. I think I'll use some yellow and put me a little bit of color up here in this pink to make it look like a flower, and just put little dots and then put a middle in them, a dot in the middle. Let's try some yellow and see what it, oh, that ain't even opened. Let me get me one back here, it's open. Okay, this is kind of a gold. This is called deep ochre. Let's see what it looks like. We'll try one with that. If it ain't good, we'll use a different color. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna put me like 4 dots. Then I'll go back in the middle of it and put another dot in the middle to make it like a little flower. I expect to see everybody painting shoes. Yeah, all invoices will be going out this evening, girls. Everything's packed. I just haven't weighed it. So I'm going to get out the scales this evening and get everything weighed and the postage on it, and I'll send you invoices out tonight. And let's see, tomorrow's Thursday. I've got so many, I'll have them picked up by the Postal Service. So all that's done and ready, all that's paid, will go out on Friday. I'll just put in a pickup thing and get them picked up on Friday. Okay, and we'll go back and put a white dot in the middle of those. I need to go down to a smaller brush to do that. Oh, that's cute. The only other thing now I will do when we finish here is to, I'll sit down tomorrow and paint those little buckles, and then I will be ready to varnish it. And I probably spray the first, if you want to put glitter on and you don't want to, painting this varnish with a brush will be a pain in the butt, because it's got so many nooks and crannies in it. So I will use a spray varnish, and I'll spray it first, and then I will go back after the spray is all dry, I will go back and use my regular varnish and put a lot of glitter in my regular varnish, and then just hit the spots that I want to, you know, where I want to bring it to put the glitter on it. I'll go back and just hit those spots. I won't have to glitter the, you know, have the varnish. What I'm trying to say is the varnish won't be put on there for protection as much as it will be to, you know, to bring up the sparkle. I'll spray it with a number of coats of the spray varnish. It'll get 4 or 5 coats of spray varnish on it. I'm putting another coat in these white dots because by painting them on like that, you get a more translucent look. So I'm just going back and putting a little more color in each one to make them a little brighter. Okay, almost got it. And I'm going to leave that alone. The rest of that I'm just going to leave the colors like it is. Not going to put any more dots or anything on it. I'll put the gold on. Okay, I think we got it. Let's see how pretty that is. That's got a lot of little places, little nooks and crannies. Have inspired me. I hope so. See that? I put them little dots in there and do. But now you could, like I said, I'll paint these gold, or they've got a little circle right there behind each gold one. I could paint that. I may paint that a different. I might go back and paint that little circle black after I put that gold. Because this is a loop. The shoestrings is like, you know, those metal loops on there. So if I paint the loop gold and then put that little circle around the bottom of the loop black, and then I'll put probably a white, I'll probably put a white shoestring in it. Okay, I think that turned out pretty good, girls. I think it turned out good. Okay, see that? So I'll get it, and then I'll put some artificial flowers in mine, but I will paint the flower pot. These clay pots are you know, they're porous. It's hard to get them to hold paint. So I'll spray paint it first, and then I don't really want it to be noticeable. So I will paint it this same color blue as I've used on the shoe, so that when you look at this pot, you won't even see that pot in there. That pot will just be decorated. The blue will be in there, because if I put it in like that, it shows. But if I paint it the same blue that this is, the same color as this, paint that pot the same, then it won't even be noticeable. You'll just notice the flowers that's in it, because I don't want that pot to stand out and you to be able to see that pot in there. But I took my boots when I went to buy my flower pots. I took the boots with me. And when I went in, that man looked at me so funny. I said, I want a flower pot to fit this boot. I went to Lowe's, and he looked at me, and I told him, I said, I'm going to make a pot out of it. And because I know if I didn't do that, I'd end up with the wrong, you know, the wrong size flower pot to go in there. So I took them in and fitted them to the thing. Okay, girls, I think it's turned out pretty good. Gosh almighty. We've been on here 2 hours. That's the longest we've ever been in a class. Of course, we spent the first 15 minutes trying to get online. Okay? But if I'm not back on here before, Wanda, I'll get those things fixed out tonight to check on that. And I'll put a post in here, girls. Some of you, we need your birthdays. We need you to put your birthday in. If you haven't done that, I'll put a post in tonight or in the morning, and you go ahead and list your birthday in there. We've got a lot of them. There's just some. Wanda gave me a list of the ones that we don't have. So I'll post that in there, and then you give us your birthdays, and we'll at least wish you a happy birthday when you have a birthday, maybe more than that. Okay? But I think I'm out of here for the day, girls. I'm going to go. I hear my girls in the kitchen cooking. I didn't tell them I was making steaks this evening. So they'll probably be eating twice because I need to get them done. So I'm going to set it down here, and I'm going to sign off here, girls. Time flew by. It did, Joan. Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you, girls.